Prophet's wisdom. Timeless lessons for today. Feeling overwhelmed by the relentless pace of modern life, stressed by notifications, exhausted by conflict, or simply searching for meaning in a world that feels more chaotic every day. What if the answers you're desperately looking for aren't hidden in new productivity hacks, mental biohacking trends, or cutting-edge AI systems, but instead in wisdom delivered thousands of years ago? What if the voices of ancient prophets echoing through the pages of scripture carry solutions more powerful, more healing, and more deeply human than anything trending today? In this journey, we open the ancient scroll not as historians, but as seekers in 2025, scanning digital landscapes flooded with information yet starved of wisdom. Because, as we look closer, we discover something astonishing. Despite the time gap, the messages of the prophets are not distant relics. They speak with piercing clarity to our deepest modern struggles, our burnout, our anxiety, our craving for purpose. So, let's unlock the prophetic blueprint for inner peace, ethical clarity, and hope for the future, using timeless lessons that are as practical today as they were in the deserts, mountains, and valleys where they were first revealed. The first timeless lesson arrives from the quiet, unshakable heart of Abraham, a man whose life was filled with tests, trials, and moments of unimaginable uncertainty, yet who demonstrated emotional resilience that modern psychology continues to admire. In a world where stress is constant and the digital age rarely lets us breathe, Abraham's unwavering faith teaches us that resiliency, born from controlling circumstances, it grows from trusting something greater than the chaos. His story reminds us that inner peace does not come from having everything figured out. It comes from surrendering what we cannot control and anchoring ourselves in purpose. This prophetic wisdom becomes a powerful antidote to the anxiety epidemic of 2025, showing us that faith, whether in God, in goodness, or in meaningful values, creates emotional stability that withstands even the fiercest storms. And then there is David, the poet king, whose psalms were born from nights of solitude, grief, triumph, and deep introspection. In today's world where we are constantly distracted by messages, trends, and endless scrolling, David's contemplative reflections teach us the forgotten art of presence. His practice of slowing down, turning inward, observing his emotions, and grounding himself in divine remembrance mirrors what modern mindfulness experts say about reducing stress and enhancing clarity. When you feel overwhelmed by digital noise, David's wisdom whispers, pause, breathe, reflect. Your soul needs stillness to flourish. From Abraham's resilience and David's mindfulness, we move to Solomon, a prophet famous not only for wisdom but for understanding the meaning of true wealth. In a hyper-consumer age where success is measured by what we accumulate rather than who we are, Solomon's reflections dismantle our obsession with materialism. He reminds us that wealth built on possessions fades, but wealth built on gratitude, contentment, and spiritual clarity lasts forever. His teachings challenge a society drowning in advertisements and endless desire, urging us to step back and recognize that true richness lies in appreciating what we already have, nurturing relationships, and strengthening our character by embracing Solomon's insight. We escape the race of comparison and step into a life defined by simplicity, joy, and inner abundance. But the prophets did not only guide our inner world, they offered powerful frameworks for ethical living that are urgently needed today. Consider the timeless golden rule from the teachings of Jesus. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This principle becomes dramatically relevant in our digital age, where social media can amplify cruelty. Cancel culture destroys reputations with a single click, and empathy often disappears behind anonymous screens. Applying the golden rule online transforms how we speak, react, comment, and judge others. It challenges us to pause before calling someone out, to communicate with compassion instead of hostility, and to treat every digital interaction as if the person on the other side were sitting right in front of us. The prophets understood human nature deeply, and their wisdom trains us to build healthier, more respectful online communities. From compassion, we move to justice, the booming voice of Isaiah. Echoing across centuries, Isaiah spoke fiercely against inequality, exploitation, and oppression. His words carry even more weight today as the world faces heightened divides between wealth and poverty, systems that marginalize vulnerable communities, and global crises that expose social disparities. Isaiah's prophetic call urges us not to be passive observers, but active agents of justice, fairness, and dignity, whether through supporting ethical policies, volunteering, raising awareness, or simply treating others with fairness. His message empowers us to stand on the side of what is right even when it is inconvenient. And then we find guidance in Moses, a leader who united divided tribes, confronted tyranny, and brought together communities fractured by fear, ego, and misunderstanding. His leadership becomes a model for building bridges in a world torn apart by polarization, cultural or ideological. Moses teaches us that unity is not created by ignoring differences but by elevating shared values, listening deeply, and choosing cooperation over conflict. In 2025, where society often seems split into echo chambers, Moses' leadership is a blueprint for healing and connection. The prophetic wisdom extends beyond personal and social guidance into the realm of tomorrow. These ancient teachings offer foresight that helps us navigate the rapidly evolving challenges of our technological age. As artificial intelligence reshapes industries, jobs, and human identity, prophetic wisdom encourages us to approach technology not with fear but with responsibility, ensuring that innovation serves humanity rather than replacing its essence. The prophets remind us that wisdom should guide power, and that technological progress must be tied to ethics, compassion, and stewardship. Their guidance urges us to ask, are we using technology to uplift or to exploit, to heal or to divide. In the rush toward the future, the prophets become a compass, directing our innovation toward moral purpose. Environmental stewardship is another prophetic message echoing loudly into our senses. Ancient scriptures taught deep reverence for creation, emphasizing balance, care, and sustainability principles that speak urgently to today's environmental crises. The prophets saw the earth as a trust, not a commodity, and their guidance aligns with modern sustainability practices that call us to reduce waste, nurture nature, and protect the planet for future generations. Whether through mindful consumption, recycling, reducing carbon footprints, or advocating for environmental protection, applying prophetic wisdom today becomes a powerful act of preserving the fragile world entrusted to us. And then there is the prophetic voice that speaks to our greatest modern struggle: uncertainty. The future often feels frightening. Economic instability, climate concerns, political unrest, and rapid technological change create a landscape that feels unpredictable. Yet throughout history, the prophets delivered messages of hope that pierce through fear. Their teachings remind us that even in uncertain times, we can cultivate purpose, resilience, and faith. They call us not to despair, but to strive, not to hide, but to build, and not to fear the unknown, but to trust in a future guided by wisdom, justice, and human responsibility. These visions of a better tomorrow inspire us to navigate uncertainty with courage and clarity, knowing that hope is not naive, it is necessary. So now the question becomes, what will you do with this wisdom? Ancient teachings only transform your life when you put them into action. That's why your prophetic action plan begins today. Choose just one piece of wisdom: Abraham's resilience, David's mindfulness, Solomon's gratitude, the golden rule, Isaiah's justice, Moses' unity, the call for environmental stewardship, or the courage to face uncertainty and apply it intentionally for the next week. Practice it daily. Notice how it shifts your thoughts, emotions, and relationships, and then share your experience, because your story might inspire someone else who is searching for guidance. To support your transformation, we've created a downloadable guide filled with practical exercises, journaling prompts, and daily reflections rooted in these timeless teachings. It's your companion for integrating ancient prophetic wisdom into modern life, one small step at a time. And if this journey has opened your eyes to the power of ancient wisdom, subscribe, like, and share this message. Together, we can spread these timeless teachings and help others discover the peace, clarity, and purpose that the prophets envisioned for all of humanity. Wisdom that is not only ancient, but urgently needed today more than ever.